Hi there folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael's 3D World. Today, exciting stuff, we're going to unbox an Ender 5. Now, you guys might ask me why I bought these Ender CR10s and Ender 3s and whatnot, and now I went with an Ender 5. Well, this has certain characteristics that I want to be able to take advantage of, and you'll see that in this upcoming video. This one has a table that moves down in Z, and the X and Y is stationary, which is very key when you're going to print tall prints. So let's dive in and see what all the components are that they send with the Ender 5 right now. Well, as always, all the Creality stuff seems to be packaged extremely well. Now, the cool part about this kit is there's not a lot of pieces here. There's a lot of things that are already pre-assembled. This whole upper framework's pre-assembled. The lower framework's pre-assembled. Looks like we got 4 uprights and our print bed. Now, the print bed on here is the exact same size as an Ender 3 as far as capacity goes. I believe, and I'll have to double check, yes, because this one's got 220 by 220 by 300. And I think the Ender 3s only have 220 by 220 by 250, maybe? I'll have to double check my facts there. But anyway, that's the capacity of this one, 300 millimeters tall. And the other cool part is right here, it actually has step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on how to assemble the darn thing right on it. That's kind of cool. I'm digging that. Now the one thing, you got your power supply switch here. I'm assuming that's on the front, it looks like. It's kind of a neat design so far. I'm not unhappy with that at all. This is pretty sweet. I like how this looks so far, so good. Let's dig into our parts box here. Looks like we got some screws, our little SD card with an adapter, our spool holder, power cord, putty knife, which on this type of magnetic surface here, I very rarely use a putty knife. This stuff is kind of tender, so I like just to peel it off and keep all sharp objects away from this particular surface. Let's see what we got here. Looks like we got tools in here. All our tools that we'll use for assembly. Some zip ties for wire management. A tip cleaner. And as I've seen in all of them so far, some handy dandy little trimmers, wire nippers, whatever you want to call them, and tools. Now, if you've already seen my Ender 3 Pro video, I used all the tools in the kit to put the machine together. And I would do the same with this, but I was just you can put it all together with those tools. iFixit kit, all the sizes of stuff you need here, right in that kit. I'm going to use that today because for handling and tightening screws, it's just faster and quicker, and then I can use the little Allen wrenches to kind of give it the final little tweak for snug. So, step 1 on here, it says bolt all your uprights on. So that's what we're going to do. And it says, actually right on here, let's see, M5 by 25 bolts. Now I've installed the uprights. I haven't completely tightened the bottom down yet, and there's a reason for that. I want to get the top on there so everything's lined up freely, and then I can snug things down. Looks like step 2 is to bolt the top frame on, which is right here. And on this it's showing, let's see if I can get you in the picture here good enough. Yeah, I do, I think. On this one you're using the same M25s, except one's going down from the top here into the pre-tapped hole here, and one goes in from the side through this little bracket right here. Okay, I've got everything loosely assembled here. I don't have any of these bolts tight. They're just there. Everything seems to line up pretty good. I did have one problem here. This joint I had to take loose here that's on the inside edge. I broke it loose a little bit because this was not laying flat like it should have been. And now that I've got it laying flat, this one seems a little bit off too. That's from the factory. I'm going to go ahead and crack these little corner pieces loose because this should be sitting flat against that vertical piece. So we're going to go ahead and back these off a little bit. And yeah, that settles right down flush now. Not all of the factory work is 100% spot on, guys. I'd like to say that it is, but I found several things on all the assemblies that I've done. I found several things that could have had a little more attention to detail, maybe a little more fixturing at the factory to make sure these are laying flat when they tighten these, put these corner pieces in. Now it is great that this is all assembled because this could be a lot more pieces to put together. So I'm not complaining about that at all, but make sure you pay attention and double check the work. Once everything's where I want it, I'll snug these corner pieces back down. Now that that's snugged down, let's go ahead and finish up all of our verticals and make sure they're good and tight. So far, I've been following the instructions on the panel to put it together. The one thing the instructions did show that I didn't pay attention to is there excuse me, there is a hole up here on one half of the verticals, and it is tapped all the way through, so it doesn't matter which way you flip it, but you got to have these up here. So I had 2 in right and 2 in wrong right out of the gate because I didn't look as close to the picture, but it is there. And it looks like number 3 here, they want you to go ahead and, ooh, we're going to install the Z-frame. Sweet. Looks like the Z-frame gets installed in the back here. And it looks like the stepper motor is at the bottom. So this is going to go in here just like this, would appear. It actually stands up on its own motor. And what size screws are we using for that? M5 by 30s. Here's the 5mm by 30s. Clearly marked on the package, just like everything else has been. There's 4 of those. Looks like they go right through here. They've already got a pre-tapped hole right there. Here again, I haven't used that iFixit kit yet because all these screws are bigger than the kit. So here again, I'm just using the tools that were provided. Here again, I'm only taking them in until they just start to touch. I'm not tightening it all the way down yet. We'll get these 2 screws on the bottom. Boy, so far this has been a completely painless assembly. Kind of makes me wonder if I'm doing something wrong. But I'm really digging this thing. Wow, we're going to be installing the bed now. According to this, if I'm right. Nope. Yeah, number 4, let's install the bed. Which it looks like there are M4 by 10, 6 pieces. Which are these stainless looking little ones, guys, here. Looks like they got a little lock washer for each one. Well, it looks like step 5 is install your extruder motor, stepper motor here, and the nice thing is they've already put the T-nuts on everything for you. It doesn't really say specifically how high on this drawing. I'm trying to do this all off of this instead of the instructions that are paper instructions just because I want to see how good it is. All right, there it is, fully assembled, but not yet all the wiring connections are made. And going by the book, it shows in red all the necessary cable connections that need to be made in order to hook it up. You got your Y, Z, Y. There's a Y limit, there's a YZ stepper motor, and then there's a Y limit switch, and a Y stepper motor, Y limit switch, Z. I don't know, that one isn't labeled. That's just an extruder tip. That's where you hook your Bowden tube into, and the E drive. So anyway, go to your book then, finally, to wire up while you put all your wires together. And then here we got Fun 1. That's interesting. And Fun 2. What the hell's a Fun 1 and a Fun 2? Okay. It says fun too. Now I get it. It's actually fan. You gotta love that, don't you? So fan 1. So we just line up the blue and yellow wires. It makes sense now. Fun 1, fun 2. Fan 1, fan 2. I'm guessing something's a little lost in translation from Chinese to US. And up here we've got, what is this one marked as? That's a Y. So this is our Y motor here. And this other Y looks like it goes to the Y limit switch. As long as you don't line up the wire colors and you line up the switches that say Y and Y, you can't really mess up too bad there, folks. What do we got left here? We got an E, the extruder. And looks like the extruder plugs in right here at the bottom. All right, we got all the wires connected. Follow your instructions for your wiring connections, guys. Looks like everything's connected up here. There is a wiring mess here. I'm not a big fan of that right now. We got to do some wire management to make sure the bed and everything has all of its proper movements, so that when it's all the way down and all the way up, nothing's getting tangled, nothing's getting wrapped up. We'll mess with that a little bit, and I'll kind of show you what I've got when it's done. I'm thinking like with this Bowden tube part here, this could zip tie to the frame here. We can tidy all this up with a few zip ties. The wiring loom is a little bit of a mess. I think that could have been better. I guarantee it could have been better, but it is what it is. I think we'll be all right. Obviously they work. The one thing you want to do now, first and foremost, you got all your wiring connections done. Make sure you go to your power supply back here and switch it from, if I can get to it here, if I can see what I'm doing. It's currently set at 230. Set it to 115 if you're in the US. Make sure you get that right. Now that we've got everything wired and hooked up properly, double check all your connections, which I've done. Let's just see if this thing is home. Let's power it on for the first time. I can't remember if this came with the silent board or not. We'll find out as soon as I home it. It says the Ender 5 is ready. Now I'm going to go ahead and crank down on this. Now one thing, this Ender 5 already has heavy duty bed springs, which is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and pull them down, make sure my tip's not going to touch. Prepare. Auto home. Yep, no silent board here. I can hear it. Guess my Ender 5 is going to get a silent board too, just like the rest of my machines that don't have silent boards. Does look like they have a little bit of an adjustment here that you can do on the limit switch. We're going to see if everything's set pretty close from the factory or not, I guess, aren't we? All right, the good news is it didn't hit. Let's level this bed. So first thing I got to do is not use 2 sheets of paper. 1 sheet of paper. And we're going to disable the steppers. Now I should be able to move everything freely. And you want to hear again moves. That didn't disable. Oh, disable steppers XY. There you go. You got an extra step on this particular machine. So we're going to bring this on over. We're going to bring it out a little ways here. We're going to adjust this one up until it just starts to drag. This is my first machine this style. Okay, we've got this thing close to level. One thing I don't like that I'm feeling right now is this head is too tight. So I'm going to manually turn this thing back down so I can get to the eccentric nut here. I'll tell you what I'm feeling right now. When I roll this across, it's like thump, thump, thump. That tells me that it was way too tight from the factory. Now you should be, once you have it adjusted, that's almost turning a little too free now. Once you have it adjusted, you should be able to turn these freely. Not freely, they should have some resistance. You should be able to turn them with some resistance. I probably got a little too loose there. There we go. When I turn the wheel, it wants to drive it, but I can hold it still and spin it and feel drag. There we go. That's the way it should be. Now I'm going to rehome it again just because that might have changed some things, right? And I'm going to retouch off that tip. Feels like it's still pretty close there. Now before I do the final bed leveling here, I want to take this thing and heat it up. So we're going to go ahead and turn the temperature up to where I normally print at, which my nozzles, I usually print at 210 for my PLA that I use. So we're going to set it at 210. And we're going to set the bed at 60. And let that come up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, let's check our bed leveling one more time. Because you will have noticed a change. Because everything grows as it gets warmer. And that was a little tight. There we go. There we go. Now we're all done. Let's load some filament in here and see what this thing will do. Alright, now that we have the bed leveled, powered on, I've actually loaded some filament in here, pushed it all the way through till it's at the tip. I'm going to throw in my little SD card. Looks like we got a pig, dog, and a cat. Let's do the pig. Looks like it's going to preheat the bed to 45 and run 200. Now this is some factory stuff here, folks, and that's what I'm going to run right out of the gate. Let's just see how well it prints. Alrighty folks, there you have it. This Ender 5 prints like a champ right out of the box. No issues, no problems whatsoever. The only thing I see is like this Bowden tube's like really long. That's the only thing I don't really care for about that. But it's okay. It works. If you're buying a printer and you want something that you can take right out of the box and start printing products with and printing objects with it, this is a good printer for doing that. Very simple to put together, as you saw. Very easy to operate. And it's a different concept having the table move in Z versus the print head moving in Z. But it's okay, it works just fine. Hope you guys enjoyed this unboxing video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I got more content coming. We're going to do some modifications to this because you know me, I can't leave well enough alone. So we're going to jump in pretty soon here and do a bunch of mods to this thing. If you can probably see hints of little red things on here. Those might be some mods. Tune in next time and we'll see what those are all about. You guys get out there and have some fun, create, inspire, and have fun. This is Michael, and I'm out.